It's time for At Home with the Rubber Ducks, powered by First Energy. 640 WHLO gets you closer to your hometown team with stories of the game and updates from the season ahead.
Line to left center, that's a base hit and a game winner for the Akron RubberDucks.
Akron RubberDucks baseball, affordable family fun.
High drive to right, that's well hit, back, that ball is gone, it's a home run.
Here's your hosts, Marco LaNave and Jim Clark.
Well, once again, welcome to At Home with the RubberDucks. Marco LaNave joined by Jim Clark this week. And Jim, we had a special experience Friday night getting to call the Legends Begin at Home game. That was a lot of fun.
A lot of great ball players, both teams. And I'll tell you a night that Randy Johnson and Nolan Ryan would soon forget.
Yep, the RubberDucks Legends winners 19-12. And Jim, this is one of my favorite moments, the call of the Patrick Selman Grand Slam.
Bases full of RubberDuck Legends. Big unit deals. There's a high drive to right center. Yelich back. He's back. That ball is going. That ball is gone. It's a Grand Slam home run for Patrick Selman. He clears the bases. He sends Johnson to the showers. Jose Fernandez comes on. The RubberDuck Legends now lead it 8-3.
And, of course, Patrick was one of the created players that RubberDucks fans had a chance to be created and play alongside the Legends in the game. So Patrick, a Northeast Ohio native, and, boy, I'm sure that's a highlight that should be saved by him and his family for a long time.
He had some night, 3 hits, 2 homers. He drove in 6 of the runs the RubberDucks scored. And then, Ron Hire, he's on base 3 times, and he stole bases. Those guys had great nights. I'm sure a lot of fun for them.
Yeah, and both, of course, Ron and Patrick both contributed to the Quakron Cares program. And, again, that is benefiting COVID-19 relief in the Summit County, Akron area. And, of course, you can go to akronrubberducks.com to register to donate there. We're still taking donations there. But, Jim, an exciting show this week. We're taking a look back. Tell us about who you've got this week.
Well, Mike Snyder, the very first voice for Ohio for AA baseball when this franchise moved from Vermont. Mike was a play-by-play voice 2 years. We worked together a year or two. And you'll tell Mike has a great time talking about the old days of the Canton-Akron Indians. He's one great guy.
Well, some great memories there, and also want to share a great promotion with all of you listening to us. We know those of you tuning in across various platforms, the podcast, the radio show, we want to remind you, you do still have a special offer on baseball caps in the RubberDucks online team store. Use the promo code RADIO to get a 20% discount on all caps in the store. Just visit akronrubberducks.com, click on the shop link, and at checkout, enter the promo code RADIO. Well, our first guest this week is RubberDucks owner Ken Babby. He was behind bringing together his 2 teams, Akron and Jacksonville, to play this charity virtual game on Friday, May 1st. Ken, this event called Legends Begin at Home between the Akron RubberDucks and the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp. The connection there, you own both teams. So where did this all come from?
Yeah, it's a bit like having to pick between, 2 of your children. You never know who to root for. And, as long as the game gets played, you win, right? So even had fun sort of bantering with the 2 teams back on Twitter and told both teams recently that if they didn't behave and control the trash talking, we were going to send them both to their rooms. So having some fun with that. But the idea really stemmed from our virtual opening night, which I know you played such an instrumental part in as well. And we just, as we get through these sort of unique times, uncharted times, we're all trying to find new ways to engage with content. And we thought this would be a fun way to get both communities, both in Jacksonville and in Akron, involved in a really unique event.
And what has sort of been the feedback from this? And you mentioned those other virtual opening days that both teams had.
We've seen different teams take on different kinds of projects like this. So we're certainly not the only sports team in the country to look at virtual events, right? NASCAR was doing a virtual race, and the NBA has its players together participating in a NBA 2K tournament. So esports in general has always been an interest of mine. And this just seemed in these sort of unique times to be an opportunity to explore it and see what the audience was out there for it. And instead of just playing a video game, because quite frankly, just running a regular video game without any sort of, attraction to the content or love of the players can be a little long-winded. And so this format was a little bit different and is a little bit different and really brought back the players that we all loved growing up, whether it be the players that came through Canton and then later in Akron on the way to the Cleveland Indians, or the players in the rich player development history coming through Jacksonville. So to be able to sort of pull the best of the best and have an all-star game, type environment between these two teams, yet they'll be wearing their current uniforms, the Jumbo Shrimp and the Rubber Duck uniforms, we thought would be a lot of fun for both of our fans.
Well, we know a lot of people are missing baseball and looking forward to these types of unique events. For you in this time, what are you missing most?
I'm missing being at the ballpark. Everybody's always talking about, the feels, the routines. Baseball players are very, very routine oriented, as you know. We're used to being at the ballpark at a certain time and being around that, the environment. And even though we're not playing the game, that goes hand in hand with it. And so we love having our pregame meal around the same time. We normally leave the ballpark around the same time every day, and then that same routine starts over and over again. And in your case, Marco, being on the road is a big part. Waking up in the hotel and getting set for that evening's contest is a big part of the experience of getting, ready for the season. And so it is a little surreal to be sitting at our homes the last week of April into May. And, we're getting used to it. As I told my wife, Liz, recently, this really is truly the longest off season I can ever remember.
And how have you found ways to spend that time? I know we've all had to get creative and maybe have some time for things that we wouldn't normally. Have you found a way to use the time well?
I've really enjoyed reconnecting with friends. I picked up cooking a little bit more than I, normally get the chance to do. I'm sort of our off-season chef around the house, normally. And so getting a chance to do more things outside and, be able to, we did crab cakes here at our house this week. That was a big event. And so, being a Maryland guy, it's fun to do that. And also just the time with family. We have an 11-year-old son and, being able to engage with him and be there, this past weekend, he was studying for an algebra test, and we were sitting there working through the equations and relearning, the slope of a line and all the kinds of things you and I probably haven't done in quite a number of time. And I was sitting there and I realized if I wasn't home for this, I'd be missing it and I'd be at the ballpark. So, we all make sacrifices in this industry, I think, to do what we love. And it is actually nice on this one rare, very odd year to actually see what springtime actually looks like around our homes and be able to take a walk and cook out on the grill. So, that said, I think, we all are missing the ballpark terribly. We're missing our fans terribly. And that's what I'm looking forward to most getting back to. So it's a break in the action, but when it's safe, we'll play a big role in getting everybody back to the ballpark.
And Ken, during that break, what sort of opportunities are arising for you and for the company?
It's interesting. Leadership during these times really tests your patience and tests your willpower. I'm the type of guy that likes to get up early in the morning and attack the day with a plan, stay connected with my team, and build. The last 8 years since we really got into this business in Akron and then later in Jacksonville, we're a pretty goal-driven organization, as you know, and that is a function, I think, of our desire to deliver the best experience for our fans night after night. And, a lot of times during the year, our fans don't see that, right? Certainly during the off season or the dead of winter behind closed doors at Canal Park or at 121 Financial Ballpark. We're working to be able to prepare for the summer. And so once the season actually starts, I've always sort of said it's actually to some degree easier because we settle into the routines and we put those plans and those goals that we set during the off season in motion. And, what's odd about this particular point is we're still in that planning and goal setting stage and resetting goals and things that we thought were going to happen, which are unlikely to happen perhaps in an abbreviated season. And so I think it's forcing all of us to be more nimble, Marco, which is a good lesson. And when it's all said and done, we'll have plenty of time to look back and say, this is what we learned. This is where we adjusted. This is what we could have done better. I've also really enjoyed spending some time on Zoom with our team. I'm now going through a second round of just sort of check-in conversations across the full staff of both front offices and in both cities, just checking in. The first one was just making sure everybody had what they need for the adjustment to this work from home environment. But, I was on a Zoom call yesterday with a, younger guy in our office, just talking about his career and what he wanted to achieve and what his goals were and, what books I had read. And so anything that we can do as leaders during these times to connect even deeper with our employees, because the one thing we all have right now, Marco, which is, sort of unprecedented during these times, is time. And so to be able to take half hour and sit down and talk with somebody about their career, which we really should as leaders be doing all the time anyway, would ordinarily not be able to happen this time of year as freely. And so I've really enjoyed that. It's been a great way for me to stay connected and learn from our team as well.
That was RubberDucks owner Ken Babby, and we'll have more with Ken right after this.
You're listening to At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Here at Sarah Auto Park, community service has always been a priority of ours. These days, that spirit is more important than ever. Join us as we do everything we can to take care of our doctors, nurses, all other essential businesses, and their employees. If our community needs us for anything, even to safely get a bag of groceries to our most vulnerable, we're here. We'll get through this together. Sarah Auto Park.
This is RubberDucks broadcaster Marco LaNave. When people ask me who's the number one pick for print and copy solutions in the Akron area, I tell them Meritech, the pride of the RubberDucks for the past 9 years. Meritech's roster also includes IT consulting, cloud voice and data services for a powerhouse lineup to reduce risk, control costs, and increase productivity. So call Team Meritech today and tell them the RubberDucks sent you. Meritech Technology to empower your business.
Exceptional care means having access to world-class physicians and services. That's the care Cleveland Clinic Akron General provides to Akron and the surrounding communities. Whether it's primary care or specialized services, we put your needs first with care that is comprehensive and, best of all, close to home. Cleveland Clinic Akron General is committed to the community and your health. To learn more about our services close to you, visit akrongeneral.org.
KeyBank makes it easy to manage your money anytime, anywhere.
I am crushed for time.
KeyBank can help.
How? And how soon?
You have a smartphone?
I have to. It keeps me organized.
Download the KeyBank mobile app and then use your phone to deposit checks on the go, transfer money, even pay bills automatically.
Awesome.
Indeed. Learn how you can make even more financial progress when you use the Red Key. Only at KeyBank. Visit key.com or your local branch. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for a great apartment with the best location? Fir Hill Towers Apartments is just a 5-minute walk to the University of Akron or a 5-minute drive downtown. You'll find spacious living, convenience, and fun with a wide variety of restaurants and entertainment just outside your door. Perfectly suited for young professionals and students on the go looking for off-campus living. Stop by 55 First Street Hill, Akron, or call 330-762-7000. That's 330-762-7000 today and reserve your apartment home.
For a lawn that looks as good as Canal Park, depend on Grassmaster. They're a locally owned and operated full-service lawn and landscape company. The development of a healthy and attractive lawn or landscape requires a great deal of time and hard work. It's Grassmaster's commitment to providing the necessary ingredients of knowledge and treatment materials to develop a healthy and attractive lawn or landscape. By choosing Grassmaster as your lawn and landscape company, you are assuring that your investment is protected and will grow in value year after year. Visit thegrassmaster.com.
Everyone at Honda wants you to be safe. And right now, you need a car you can count on and your dealer to go the extra mile. So if your Honda needs parts or service, we're right here ready to help. Working to follow all government guidelines in order to get you what you need and help you stay safe with a reliable car that's ready to go when you need it.
visit northernohiohondadealers.com.
Your business has a story to tell. Let Fast Signs Medina help you using the right mix of visual communication solutions like signs, banners, digital displays, fleet graphics, mobile marketing, health and safety communications, and so much more. Give Fast Signs Medina your business challenge and we'll come up with a plan to grow your business, reach more customers, and accomplish more than you ever thought possible. Fast Signs Medina. More than fast, more than signs, more than ready to help you grow your business. Call today and say Go Ducks for your discount.
This is At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO.
Deep drive out to right field. Rafaela turning, watching. It's gone to the Bud Light line. Tiki Terrace.
Your new home for RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Marco LaNave, and this portion of At Home with the RubberDucks is brought to you in part by Brubaker's Pub, Crown Granite and Marble, and Summa Health, all part of our lineup presenting RubberDucks broadcasts on 640 WHLO. We now continue our conversation with RubberDucks owner Ken Babby. You mentioned being a leader. You've also made statements publicly about how the RubberDucks, in particular here in Akron, can be a leader in this process of coming back to sports and to live events. What form could that take, and what sort of gives you that optimism?
Yeah, I mean, I think we, in these situations have two paths you could go down. You could effectively sit back and wait for somebody to pick up the phone or hop on one of these league conference calls that they tell you when the season's going to start and how the safe protocols are to open your building and, what the right plan is. Or you can become part of the leadership of that decision making. And while by no means am I a health expert or a doctor or have any scientific insight into the, evolution of the pandemic, we do know how to operate events, and we have very, very skilled facility and operations teams, food and beverage teams, marketing and promotions teams. And so there are tools that we have during these times that we can use to be leaders. And so I've enjoyed that role very much so in terms of learning and getting the opportunity to spend some time talking with leaders in our city, Mayor Horrigan, and even connecting over the weekend for a brief time with our Governor DeWine, really listening and hearing about what the path forward can look like, and then playing a leadership role, putting a plan together, developing an operations framework with the help of Scott Riley and Jim Fander, who I know you had on this show. It's been great fun to sort of sit there and say, look, how can we stand up and lean in and try and be part of the path back to a safe environment for our fans? And that's the way we lead. And so that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about this process. And quite frankly, otherwise we'd, just be sleeping in and sitting back on the couch, waiting for baseball. And I'm not sure I could stomach that anyway.
Well, we know certainly that the question turning for everybody at this point is, when does baseball come back? And for the folks that are wondering, what would you say about when we might see that next RubberDucks game at Canal Park?
Oh, I wish I had the answer for you. Believe me, if I could hop in my car right now and head over to the ballpark for a game tonight, that would be my choice. But, we know that we're not ready for that. And as the governor announces his reopening plan for the state and other governors do the same, they're putting safety first, which is absolutely the way to approach this. And we know that the reopening for sports and entertainment venues like ours will be on the back end of that reopening plan, but they are on the plan, and we'll learn more about those in the weeks to come. And once we know that it's safe to open these facilities, I would anticipate that you would see a movement from Major League Baseball to start to have players start returning to spring training facilities or various facilities around the countries to be determined, and start to think about when a safe start to the 2020 season would be. What I will say, and I think this is evident of all the calls that I've been on, from my phone call with the governor to conversations with people at the Cleveland Indians at various levels, is that everybody's committed to find a way to play baseball this year. Nobody on these conversations is saying, well, let's just wait till next year. And I think that's an important part of it.
And Ken, speaking of that happy day when we do reopen Canal Park, how might the experience be different for the fans compared to what they've been used to?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think we're still sorting through that. I think we will lead with safety. I think it's important for people to understand that when we do say that it is, ultimately safe to return back to the ballpark, there are likely to be changes in terms of the way that you experience a RubberDucks game, putting the importance of that safety above all else. And so that'll certainly include some practices that you're reading about or hearing about in these early announcements, recommendations as it relates to social distancing and how perhaps the seats may be configured for a group or a family, keeping people safe distances from each other. We'll rethink all aspects of our food and beverage operation. One of the great parts about coming to the ballpark is getting that great hot dog and popcorn or that cold beer. You'll still be able to do that, but the way that you do that may be quite different. And we're trying to determine a whole range of innovative ways that we can bring product to the consumer, and fan in a different way. And we're talking with other sports teams and organizations and learning from others around the world in terms of how that's playing out. And it'll actually, during these times, actually give us an opportunity to be more innovative, perhaps introduce some technology into the ballpark that we didn't have before to be able to ensure that safety. And so all those details are still forthcoming. We're learning every day. A couple days ago, it was a mandatory position on masks and face coverings, and now that's changing. And so I can certainly, say with certainty social distancing will be part of the mix. It's likely that a requirement for face coverings will be part of the mix, and recommendations for fans and our staff and food and beverage service will certainly all be wearing face coverings. But we'll work through those details and announce more of those plans. And none of those elements really should be a surprise because we put the safety of our fans first and foremost.
Ken, again, we appreciate you taking time to join us here on At Home with the RubberDucks. We know that you think of Akron as home as well, and I know it's been a long time since you've had a chance to speak to RubberDucks fans, maybe longer than normal. But is there anything else that you want to make sure that RubberDucks fans know at this point in time and how you're thinking of them?
Well, I just, use the opportunity here in this venue to say thank you. Fans have been amazingly patient and supportive partners as well as we sort through this. And I think people understand these are unprecedented times, and we're all trying to learn about how we can be safe coming out of this. We will get back to baseball. One of the things that I am just so certain of, remember, Marco, baseball always bounces back through various wars, through terrorist attacks, even through pandemics. There's great history. I'm a great sort of connoisseur of understanding the history of this game, and I feel a certain sense of responsibility as a steward of the owner of the team in Akron and in Jacksonville to continue to understand that as we make good decisions going forward. And there is history here. We've been through this before, maybe not us personally, but those in our seats before us. And so we're going to do what's right. We're going to put safety first for our fans, for our players, for our staff, for our communities. But rest assured, baseball will return. And we know that, again, once it's safe to do so, we will open up those great gates to the ballpark and invite our fans back in. And I'm very excited about the time that we get to do that because, like all of our fans and all of our partners, boy, do we miss it.
Well, Ken, we really appreciate you taking the time again to join us. Thanks so much, and hope you continue to be safe and healthy as we prepare for whenever baseball does resume.
Be well, and we'll see you real soon, Marco. Can't wait.
That is RubberDucks owner Ken Babby. I'm Marco LaNave, and after the break, Jim Clark will talk with his first baseball broadcast partner, Mike Snyder. That comes your way right after this.
You're listening to At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy. This is At Home with the RubberDucks on 640 WHLO.
Here's the relay. The throw home will not be made. That's an inside the park home run.
Your new home for RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Jim Clark. And this portion of At Home with the Rubber Ducks is brought to you in part by Texas Roadhouse and Stowe. Open for drive-through, carry-out, and curbside service Monday through Thursday, 3 to 9, Friday to Sunday, 11 to 9, and at texasroadhouse.alohaorderonline.com. Now sit back and enjoy as I talk with Mike Snyder. My very first baseball partner from back in Canton-Akron, Mike Snyder. Mike, welcome to tonight's show.
Good to be with you, Jim. Boy, it has been a while. This is like our, what is this, our 30-year reunion? Oh, my gosh, Jim, I wouldn't even say that. It's been a few years. Let's put it that way.
Our 30th year reunion.
How about that?
Now, Mike was a WAKR and then a voice of the Cleveland Force, and then for some unknown reason, you jump into minor league baseball the very first year for the Canton-Akron Indians in 1989.
That is true, Jim. And the reasons behind it, and I'll make it quick. Yeah, I had been doing soccer, a lot of freelance work in Cleveland, and really I got into a point where pretty much my jobs had dried up. There were a few things. The old Force, they folded. The league went down. I did continue to do some work when they formed the other league, but again, I was limited there, and I heard, well, they're going to have a team in Canton. And I actually went up to the old stadium, took out an old Marantz recorder, and I didn't have any baseball play-by-play. I'd done some stuff when I was at my previous job at WOBL in Overland, did some high school games, but I never saved the tapes. So I went, I did a couple of innings of a game, the innings, I think, Tigers, and I put something together, and the new people that were there, I found out, who was running it and so forth, and I got the tape in, and met with them, and ended up taking the job. And, boy, what an opportunity it was.
What was your first impression of minor league baseball?
Well, bus rides. I'll tell you, my very first impression, Jim. So the team comes in. So here was the deal that year. I said, well, they opened up on the road because it was the new ballpark, Thurman Munson Stadium, and they had the Indians open up with a 10-game road trip. So the plan was that the team was going to arrive actually in Pittsburgh. So I actually joined the bus driver in Canton, and I think I parked at the stadium because he let me park my car at Thurman Munson Stadium. And then I rode with him, me and the bus driver, down to the airport in Pittsburgh. We picked up the team, and it was, already evening. The guys got on. It took forever because they had their equipment, their bags, and everything. And I guess we had some equipment. That's why we went. I met them at Thurman Munson Field, and then took the bus. Anyhow, I digress. We took a bus all the way to Williamsport, Pennsylvania, and the season began the next day. And then we went from there to Albany, and then Albany to London, and then back to Canton. So my first impression of minor league baseball was, man, I'm going to be on a lot of bus rides.
And London was a wonderful city.
Love London, and you and I spent time there.
Yes, we did.
And the second year that they were in the playoffs there, we spent a lot of time there, Jim, because of the monsoons came, and we spent 3 days waiting for to play a game. Of course, everybody wanted it to end from the baseball side of it because it's September and it's go on, and there we were waiting to play that series. But yeah, London was a great place. Actually, that was kind of a reward after being in Williamsport, where Bowman Field was the worst facility they played in. Albany was okay, but I did like London. It was actually, as you know, was kind of a nice city. We stayed at a really nice hotel there, and it really was, at that time, the ballpark wasn't anything special, but it was kind of fun, and I did like London.
So you get back from your first trip, impressions of Munson Stadium off the bat.
Well, I was excited about it, and I know that when we did get back home, to have Diana Munson there, and and I think, Jim, we look at now the beautiful facility that you folks have at Canal Park, and then there's the Lake County Captains, and even the Crushers, the team up in Avon, a professional league that they're part of. But before these beautiful parks now of today and that have been around for quite some time, even now. But back then, there weren't a lot of those kind of facilities. So this was a new ballpark, minor league ballpark. And I know they got the go-ahead on it, and you know what? It was great when it all opened. That was an exciting time, and the idea of having, the Cleveland Indians affiliate so close, And even though the tribe had struggled, as you know, for so long, but I think then that was kind of the birth of really what became the Indians, of course, of the 90s, and really has been just a terrific franchise really all this time since then.
Now, you had a guy named Joey Bell, who became Albert Bell. Tell us about Joey. In fact, tell us what you can tell us about Joey.
Well, you know, there are stories galore about Joey, who was Joey then. Yeah, he was Joey Bell then. Jim, I think back then it was really, this was the fork in the road for him. He'd had a number of things going on, whatever. There was always things. He was really, so often he was really his own worst enemy. And what can you do? Because he continued to be that. But he was a talent. Everybody knew it. And I knew when I was, going to start the season that this was the guy to watch. And he really was. When I looked really at their early lineups, they had some young guys in there that Bo Allred, played a little bit. Troy Neal ended up being an okay. Had a look. I think he had more success in Japan. But Nagy had yet to arrive. So Bell was the guy. And it was his year to really show, okay, can you put it together and get to the bigs? And he was great. And you know how hard it is to put up numbers in the Eastern League in April and in May. And, I mean, he was impressive. There's a ball he hit in Reading. I don't know if it landed yet. But also, Jim, you recall the old Thurman Munson the field, but he was kind of getting frustrated. You'd be doing the game, and all of a sudden, bang, you hear this noise. I mean, he took apart a water faucet that was behind the dugout, and it was outdoors, and he was mad at bats, or who knows what it was, and he slammed a bat into there, destroyed that, and it was the most horrible noise. And, you get a crowd of a couple thousand. It was a weeknight game. There weren't that many people. And you hear this noise that shook up everybody. But, I talked with him a lot then. Most of the times he was cordial. I did interviews. I probably got a few cassette as we go back, tapes of some interviews I did with him. And I knew, when to, it was like almost any hitter. You don't want to go ask for the interview when they're slumping. But he was pretty affable. And then there was a point in May, I believe it was the end of May, maybe it was the 1st of June. We were in Williamsport, and I got to the ballpark, and he was in the lineup. And then there was some rustling, and I know that you've seen it many times when something's going to happen. And here, Billy Williams was our coach then, one of our base coaches, and they got the word that they were calling him up to Cleveland, and Billy was going to drive him to Cleveland. And I actually played the next day then with the Tribe. But that was a great moment. He had earned it. There was no question that last week or so of May was hellish. He knew have I made my point? He was leading the league in home runs. And this was a league that had guys like Mo Vaughn and Bernie Williams in it, I believe, at the time. There might get a few years mixed up, but I know there were some guys in there that were pretty good. And Albert had really dominated the league as best you can at that time of the year.
Now, playing in Munson, when they would have the large crowds with that pretty much the erector set, it was really a loud ballpark.
Oh, you're right. And it was like the erector set, and you'd get kids stomping, and the noise would get loud. And there were some great crowds there. I remember one July 4th, I think the first year, Jim, they had this huge, it was packed to the rim. They won the game late on a home run. I'm not sure who hit it, but it was just great. And there were some great moments there. I mean, the opening night, I believe the first night actually was rained out, and they had it postponed to the next day and then had everything. And that's the way that was. But it was a novelty. They really were drawing crowds. And you're right, they were getting good crowds, and they'd have promotions and so forth. And, man, when the kids would start stomping their feet, why, it would be noisy there, yes.
And there were other characters besides Joey Bell.
The list goes on. Troy Neal. Troy was big guy from Texas. And I remember we were coming back from London, and this was 89, Jim. Customs was not that big a deal. And I remember the guy came on, and, he was a serious agent. It wasn't going to make us get off. And he was going around. He said, I think to Troy, he goes, are you from the U.S.? He goes, I'm from Texas. Well, come on, you're from the U.S., stuff like that. But there were characters, and there were some nice experiences there that I look back at that they played in New Britain. We were up there on a 4th of July. It was a 4th of July game, and they had it early it was a late afternoon game. We started the game at like 5 o'clock, I think, and here the game goes into extra innings, and it goes on and on and on. And the next thing you know, boom, 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 fireworks start going off. We're like in the 11th inning. Fireworks go off. This was year 2 because Kenny Bullock was the manager. I think I've told you this story.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and guys are hitting the outfield. Our guys were in the field. We didn't know what it was. It sounded like gunshots, right? And here, all around us, we get there at the ballpark at like 3 in the afternoon. There's nobody there. Well, and the game goes on. People were in the stands. But outside of us were like 10,000 people from New Britain. They were there for the 4th of July fireworks display. So we had to sit through that. The game resumes. It's like 85-90. We resume. The Indians had blown the lead. And we go to extras, and we end up losing the game. Then, we not only after that, to get out of there, we had to sit in all that traffic. It was the longest 4th of July that I think I ever lived.
That was Mike Snyder, and this portion of At Home with the Rubber Ducks was brought to you in part by Precious Cargo Trailways, Scene 75 Entertainment Center, and Visit Jacksonville, all partners for Rubber Ducks broadcast this season. Stay with us. We'll come back with more from Mike Snyder right after this.
You're listening to At Home with the Rubber Ducks on 640 WHLO, your new home for Akron RubberDucks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Are you looking for a great apartment with the best location? Fir Hill Towers Apartments is just a 5-minute walk to the University of Akron or a 5-minute drive downtown. You'll find spacious living, convenience, and fun with a wide variety of restaurants and entertainment just outside your door. Perfectly suited for young professionals and students on the go looking for off-campus living. Stop by 55 First Street Hill, Akron, or call 330-762-7000. That's 330-762-7000 today and reserve your apartment home.
There aren't many things in life that are easy. There's easy listening music, easy chairs, easy money. But did you know that you can enjoy all 3 while getting rid of your old energy-wasting refrigerator? You can schedule a pickup without moving from your easy chair. We'll haul it away and even pay you for it. So go ahead, take it easy, and let us take it from here. First Energy's Ohio Utilities will pick up your fridge and you'll get $50. Just visit EnergySaveOhio.com to schedule a pickup. Now that's easy.
Bridgestone Drive Guard tires deliver a clutch performance that won't leave you stranded on the side of a rural road or a busy highway. They're engineered to take a puncture and to keep running up to 50 miles after a flat at 50 miles an hour. Plus, you'll get the smooth, quiet ride and impressive tread wear life you've come to expect from Bridgestone tires. Let the clutch performance of Bridgestone Drive Guard tires give you peace of mind. Bridgestone, proud sponsor of the Akron Rubber Ducks.
Here at Sarah Auto Park, community service has always been a priority of ours. These days, that spirit is more important than ever. Join us as we do everything we can to take care of our doctors, nurses, all other essential businesses, and their employees. If our community needs us for anything, even to safely get a bag of groceries to our most vulnerable, we're here. We'll get through this together. Sarah Auto Park.
No savvy traveler likes long lines or waiting around. So, lucky for you, the Akron-Canton Airport is easy and fast. With affordable on-site parking, quick check-in, and short security lines, you'll be through the airport in just minutes. CAK gives you more freedom to enjoy the things you love, like vacationing. With low fares to 11 nonstop destinations and just one stop to the world, book your next adventure from CAK.
Rubber Ducks fans, check out City Barbecue in Fairlawn for the best barbecue in town.
I gotta tell you, City Barbecue is the best smoked meats I've ever experienced in my life.
Literally the best beef brisket sandwich I've ever had.
Definitely the best barbecue I've ever had.
My best all-around barbecue experience ever.
Best barbecue around.
Some of the best barbecue I've personally tasted.
I highly recommend this spot for some of the best BBQ you'll ever have.
Visit citybarbecue.com or stop by 2870 West Market Street in Fairlawn.
Everyone at Honda wants you to be safe. And right now, you need a car you can count on and your dealer to go the extra mile. So if your Honda needs parts or service, we're right here ready to help. Working to follow all government guidelines in order to get you what you need and help you stay safe with a reliable car that's ready to go when you need it.
Visit NorthernOhioHondaDealers.com.
This is At Home with the Rubber Ducks on 640 WHLO.
Relay home, it is not in time. 2-run double by Mejia. Akron now leads it 6-2.
Your new home for Rubber Ducks baseball, powered by First Energy.
Welcome back. This is Jim Clark. And this portion of At Home with the Rubber Ducks is brought to you in part by Ambridge Hospitality, Fairfield Inn and Suites, and the Courtyard by Marriott, Akron Fairlawn, all presenting Rubber Ducks broadcast this season. Now the conclusion of my talk with Mike Snyder. Do you still have the Will George, Sam Ferretti interview?
Oh, my gosh. Now, you talk about characters. Sam Ferretti, well, I think I do. You know, I was going through some tapes, so I've been trying to get some stuff cleaned out around the house here, and I think I do, and I know. Did we hear that one, Jim?
You know, I think we did.
Parts of it. But that was, I think, yeah, because Will interviewed Sam, right?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Well, Will was, of course, the pitching coach, just a great guy, and Sammy Ferretti, the second baseman. I mean, this was he's one of those stories, you know, you look at the Sam Ferrettis, the Mike Twardowskis, Julius McDougall, Robbie Swain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I go back, some of those guys were just great guys, and these were such good ball players at their level they were, but that just another example. And I think that was one of the things for me as a newbie in baseball that year, and then even the second year, it really made me appreciate the major leaguers even more, because there are more of those guys than the Albert Bells, Charlie Nagy's, Jim Thome's, and so forth, that make it to the big leagues and make the big bucks and so forth. It's those other guys around them in the minor leagues, and there are stories to tell that they just didn't have one of the other or two of the other, whatever it was, to make it to the big leagues. And those were some real characters. Sammy Ferretti, one of the great New Jersey kid, Will was a New Jersey guy, and they just had a ball. I mean, it was just constantly fun.
As you could tell, those guys, they really loved the game, or they would not have been there. They weren't making a lot of money.
No, geez. Hey, Jim, I mean, a whopping $12 a day per team. I mean, come on now. That was pretty good. You know, if you go on a 10-day road trip, they give you $120, you know, make it last for 10 days. Unbelievable. But no, they did. You know, and I think each one of them, you know, that was part of it. You'd be around them, and you are still so often now. I mean, the dreams are there. And I think a lot of them were really, really great players. You know, I think Mark Twardowski, our little first baseman, I think was an SEC batting champ. I think Mike maybe ended up doing a hitting school up in Buffalo or something. But you looked them up, and these guys were pretty good, or really great players from where they were from. And I think they thought, if I had a shot, just keep on playing. Maybe I'll get that call-up. Maybe I'll get that day. But they loved the game. You're right. They wanted to play it as long as they could. And in the minor leagues, and especially back then, you know, there weren't that many nice ballparks, at least in the Eastern League, at all. And it was a grind. And it's not that it's any easier today, because these guys the competition's there. But again, you gotta love it. And I think it does weed them out. And there's only so many years that you really get a chance to show that before the team kind of lets you know, it's time to move on.
Well, Mike, we had a great time, and, you know, I wanted to thank you because here I'm the new kid on the block, had not done baseball in a ballpark except for maybe some Akron U games, and I learned so much from you. And, you know, you were a big league guy in the minor leagues. I've always thought that, but we had a heck of a time.
Well, you're kind, and we did, Jim. You know, we had a good time. I mean, I know you bring that to the game and your passion and love for it every day. And that's what you have to do. I mean, the minor leagues, you're out there for the game. You really are. You know, it's just great if you want the guys to win and get better and win a league championship, but you really are out there for the game. And then that's the special part of it, being around a nice summer evening. And then to bring to people, I think that whether it's major league, minor league, there's something about that baseball ambience people like to hear when they're sitting in the backyard. And if it's a game going on, it's fun to just kind of be a part of that and tell the story of that particular game. And I think we did. And I think really we did rely on each other, because at the minor leagues, you know, if you look at the back of a media guide, there's a thumbnail sketch on the players. And we were building, as I call it, kind of a library. And baseball, to me, is really, people ask me this, they're surprised when I usually answer this way, but they'll ask me, well, Mike, you know, you've done baseball, you've done football, basketball, and hockey. Which one's the most difficult to do? And I always say, really, to do it well, it's baseball. Because I think in basketball, there's kind of a confined, you know the court, there's a rhythm, there's a pace to the game. And football, it's a little bigger, but you're on that gridiron There's a pace of the game. It's 3rd down and 8, or 2nd and 7. It's 3rd and 2. There's a play, and then you go on. Baseball, and you and I know it, you sit there, and, man, you could go for an hour, and not much is going on. And then all of a sudden, guy, there's a throwing error. And there's a walk. And then there's a gap shot to right center. He's around third. He missed the cut-up, man. He's going to go from first. And so all of a sudden, you've got to go from kind of like really talking about, hey, well, we had a nice lunch today. Mike and I, we enjoyed London, Ontario. We're having a good time up here, although the money we're still not used to, and so forth. And then all of a sudden, all heck breaks loose, and you've got to be on it. And that's why I just think it's the most difficult of the games to do. And you do really need to do the daily prep work, get to know the players, know some storylines, and then also be in tune with what's going on in the world on that given day, much more maybe than although what we're going through now is nothing like anyone could ever envision. But I've always felt, though, baseball to me is the most difficult of the three to do.
When do you see baseball coming back, Mike?
Well, I think there's a real hope, and I think, first off, let me say this. We all know this. Science and the virus really will dictate everything. That being said, if things can kind of go the way they seem to be progressing this week, not only in Ohio, but in some of the other states, and I think the improvement, the warmer weather from what I've listened to, and I'm like trying to weed through everything. There's a lot of stuff out there, but it looks to me like, and from some people that are talking to people in baseball, that I think the hope is July. I really think that, if they can get the players into a workout mode for 3 to 4 weeks, and then what the plan will be, I don't know. And we'll start Major League work down, what will be available, how it will look in the country then. And I think that's the thing, when they even start to say, okay, let's say they say in June 1st, we're going to start training camp. Well, where will the country be and across various cities that are involved here? Where will it be? And then to project out to where it might be in July. They may still not be able to do that. So there may be some sort of a plan where we'll play games here, there, and here. We'll have to pick our spots. I think that's what we're looking at. But I think July, Jim, looks to me as hopeful. Let's put it that way. I think that would be the best hope right now. If they could start early July, maybe get anywhere from 80 to 90 to 100 games in, I think that would be the best case.
I think you're right. Mike, thanks for taking the time, and thank you so much for reliving our great time together and your experiences from minor league baseball. And Mike, as always, stay safe.
Thank you, Jim. You too. And, I look forward to the day when we're saying play ball.
Thank you, Mike. And thanks also to RubberDucks owner Ken Babby, who joined Marco LaNave earlier in the show. And thanks most of all to you for listening. Join us next Sunday evening at 6 o'clock for another episode of At Home with the RubberDucks, which will bring you every Sunday until baseball returns to Canal Park in downtown Akron. For Marco LaNave, I'm Jim Clark. So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to At Home with the RubberDucks. To listen to previous shows or for more RubberDucks baseball, follow the Akron RubberDucks podcast on the iHeartRadio app. For the latest on the team, go to AkronRubberDucks.com and follow the Akron RubberDucks on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Akron RubberDucks Baseball. Affordable family fun.